On Halloween night, while all the other parents are handing out candy, Dad is hiding in the bushes with a big trash can full of water. And if any teenagers pass by our driveway, he drenches them. I'm not sure Dad really understands the concept of Halloween.
Trick or treat.
I've never had a store-bought costume before. I still haven't figured out what I'm gonna go as tomorrow night. So I'll probably just throw something together at the last minute. I figure maybe I'll bring back the toilet paper mummy again. But I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow night, so that may not be the smartest choice. About an hour before we were supposed to start trick-or-treating, I still didn't have a costume. At this point, I was seriously thinking about going as a cowboy for the second year in a row. But then Mom knocked at my door and handed me a pirate costume, with an eye patch and a hook and everything. Riley showed up around 6:30 wearing his night costume, but it didn't look like anything like it looked yesterday. Riley's mom made all these safety improvements to it, and you couldn't even tell what he was supposed to be anymore. She cut out a big hole in the front of the helmet so he could see better, and covered him up in all this reflective tape. She made him wear his winter coat underneath everything, and she replaced his sword with a glow stick. Me and Riley were about to go head out, but Mom stopped us right before we left.
I want you to take Manny with you.
Mom, there is no way we're taking Manny with us, because we're gonna hit 152 houses in 3 hours. And plus, we're gonna be going to Snake Roads, which is way too dangerous for a little kid like Manny.
Is that so?
I should have never mentioned that last part, because the next thing I knew, Mom was telling Dad he had to go along with us to make sure we didn't step foot outside our neighborhood. Dad tried to squirm out of it, but once Mom makes up her mind, there's no way you can change it.
But why can't you take them? Dang it.
Before we even got out of our driveway, we ran into our neighbor Mr. Mitchell and his kid Jeremy. So of course, they tagged along with us. Manny and Jeremy wouldn't trick-or-treat at any house with spooky decorations on them. So that ruled out pretty much every house on our block. Dad and Mr. Mitchell started talking about football or something, and every time one of them wanted to make a point, they'd stop walking. So we were hitting only about one house every 20 minutes. The first house we trick-or-treated at just happened to have someone who dressed up pretending to be a Halloween decoration, who randomly jumps out at you and tries to scare you right as you grab the candy. Unfortunately, Manny was the first to go up. Boo!
That last play was totally not fair.
Did you hear about that game of the Bricksters versus the Studs?
Yeah, I just went last night with my son. It was a blast.
Oh, no way.
After a couple hours, Dad and Mr. Mitchell took the little kids home. I was glad, because that meant me and Riley could take off. My pillowcase was almost empty, so I wanted to make as much time as possible. Already 10:30, and I guess that's when most grown-ups decide Halloween is over. You can kind of tell because that's when they start coming to the door in their pajamas and giving you the evil eye. We decided to head home. We made up a lot of time after Dad and Manny left, so I was pretty satisfied with how much candy we took in. When we were halfway home, this pickup truck came roaring down the street with a bunch of high school kids in it. The kid in the back was holding a fire extinguisher, and when the truck passed us by, he opened fire. I have to give Riley credit because he blocked about 95% of the water with his shield. And if he hadn't done that, all our candy would have gotten soaked. When the truck drove away, I yelled out something that I regretted about 2 seconds later. "We're calling the cops!" The driver slammed on the brakes and he turned his truck around. Me and Riley started running, but those guys were right on our heels. The only place I could think of that was safe was Grandma's house, so we cut through a couple backyards to get there. Grandma was in bed already, but I knew she keeps a key under the mat on her front porch. Once we got inside, I looked out the window to see if those guys had followed us. And sure enough, they did. I tried to trick them into leaving. "Well, I guess now that we're safe in our own house, you can't get us!" But they wouldn't budge. After a while, we realized the teenagers were going to wait us out, so we decided we were just gonna have to spend the night at Grandma's. "Hey Mom, is it alright if we crash at Grandma's for the night?"
No, you can't stay at Grandma's. It's a school night. Get home right this instant, or you're gonna be in big trouble.
Looks like we're gonna have to make a run for it, Riley. Snake Road is scary enough on its own without having a truckload of teenagers hunting you down. Every time we saw a car coming, we dove into the bushes. It must have taken us a half an hour to go 100 yards. But believe it or not, we made it all the way home without getting caught. Neither one of us let our guard down until we got to my driveway. But right then, there was this awful scream, and we saw a big wave of water coming towards us.
Whoops.
I think next Halloween, I'll just stay home and mooch some Butterfingers from the bowl Mom keeps on top of the refrigerator.